All right, welcome into the post-game show, everybody. Dan Tanner here for another edition of In the Paint. We are reacting to Nuggets Pelicans. I'm just watching the end of the game here on my phone. This was an absolute beatdown from the Denver Nuggets against the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. Zion played. We didn't know if he was going to play. He was questionable coming into the game, as was Cam Johnson with a shoulder injury, but Cam played. So lots to get into here on the post-game show. As always, feel free to leave your comments. I would like to get your thoughts on this Nuggets win. My biggest takeaway really from this game and just the season as a whole so far, well, number one, Nikola Jokic is still just the best player in basketball. I think Victor Wembanyama is catching up, and he will be the next best player in the league during his time, but it's still Nikola Jokic. 4 straight triple doubles to start the season for Nikola Jokic. Absolutely outstanding. Tied for the most triple doubles to start a season in NBA history. And just incredible performance from the Joker so far to start the year. So lots to get into. The other thing I loved about tonight's game and really just the season as a whole so far, I mean, my goodness, the Nuggets' depth is very apparent, how real it is. They are loaded on this team. We saw Julian Strawther get into the game in non-garbage time minutes, by the way. He got in early on in that second quarter, and he came in and had 6 points in 5 minutes, and I thought he looked great. So it was really good to see Julian Strawther come in and produce the way he did. You know, that's something I've talked about. With the addition of Tim Hardaway Jr. to this team, the minutes are going to be very difficult for Julian Strawther to come by this year. But I do think David Adelman is going to pick his spots of where to bring Julian in when it makes sense. And he obviously wanted to do that tonight. And I thought Julian came in and played great. So the bench unit I thought was outstanding. In Jokic's first stint off the floor, the Nuggets second unit outscored the Pelicans 17-8. So again, the second unit is not only not hurting this team, they are helping this team when Nikola Jokic is not in the game. That's just something we haven't seen in quite some time here in the Mile High City. So excellent win for the Nuggets. We got to see DeAndre Jordan back in town. He's with New Orleans now. That was really cool to see. He actually got the start for the Pelicans. By the way, let me just say this before we get into DJ. Great win for the Nuggets. I mean, they absolutely blasted them. They had a little rough stretch there at the end of the second quarter, about the final 3 minutes. The Pelicans go on a 12-0 run. Other than that, the Nuggets just absolutely kicked the Pelicans' ass tonight. So that was great to see. The Pelicans are awful. And they've got a couple of young high first-round picks, lottery picks that I like tonight. That Fears kid from Oklahoma, that's a professional scorer right there. But they are awful this year. I mean, even with Zion, this team is absolutely atrocious. So the Nuggets did exactly what they had to do tonight against a very bad New Orleans Pelicans team. They had to win this game. I mean, they're at home. The Pelicans stink. The Nuggets are awesome. And they did what they needed to do. The game just ended. They're showing DJ giving hugs to the Nuggets coaching staff. Christian Brown, he's embracing right now. Really cool to see DJ tonight. He, like I said, he gets the start at center for New Orleans, and right before tip-off, he's hugging all his former teammates on the Nuggets, and he actually makes Joker laugh as they're going up to tip the ball. So it was really cool to see DJ here. You could tell he was emotional about his return to Denver, and he actually, Katie reported on the broadcast that he had some nerves, some jitters coming into this game tonight, being back in the Mile High City where he spent 3 seasons and won a championship with the Denver Nuggets. So that was really, really cool to see. But I will say, I love DJ. If he's your starting center, your team is awful, okay? He is not a starting caliber type of center. He hasn't been for a long time in the NBA. I love DJ, and he can be good in spurts, but if he's your starting center, I mean, you've got a lot of problems if you're the New Orleans Pelicans. But for the Nuggets, slow start for Jamal Murray. This was the first game where he didn't just get off to a rip-roaring start. The guys on Altitude TV were reporting he had a heat pad on his left calf, I believe. And then that's also the leg. He's got the sleeve all the way down. And Scott was talking about it. Jamal was limping up and down the court there to start the third quarter. I'm assuming that it just kind of got warmed up, and because by middle of that third quarter, Jamal looked like he was fine. And he hit 3 straight threes in the middle of a 29-2 Nuggets run in that third quarter. I've never seen anything quite like that. In all of my years watching NBA basketball, I don't remember as dominant of a run as we saw the Nuggets put on the Pelicans tonight. I mean, that was just a beatdown there in the third quarter. And mind you, this was after the Nuggets gave up a 12-0 run to New Orleans going into halftime. In fact, New Orleans got their deficit down from 18 to where at halftime the Nuggets only led 53-47. So what could have been a very just cakewalk easy win, wire to wire for Denver, turned into like, they've got to get going here to start the second half. And that's exactly what they did. So it was good to see Jamal Murray get going there in the third quarter after struggling shooting the basketball in that first half. You got to wonder if that calf injury was bugging him in that first half. He just didn't look quite up to speed tonight like we've seen in the first handful of games before tonight, but looked like he got it going there, and that was awesome to see. And then the good news for the Nuggets is they were up so big at the end of the third quarter that the starters didn't have to play in the fourth quarter there. So awesome stuff to see. I'm keeping an eye on the broadcast here because I want to try and bring you guys Adelman live when he does talks. I would like to get Adelman's post-game thoughts brought to you all so we can check that out together. I thought in that first quarter, Nuggets started slow. They were just 2 of 6 shooting from the field, but then they go on a run. They make 7 straight shots. Joker, oh my goodness. I mean, his passing in that first quarter, I thought was just unbelievable. They ran the same play between he and CB like 3 straight times, and the Pelicans just could not figure out how to guard it. They were at the top of the key, and they're running pick and roll action. The Pelicans keep switching it, and Christian would just drive straight to the rim. Joker bounce pass, worked like a charm. So the Pelicans just had absolutely no answer for the Nuggets offense tonight. I think a lot of teams are going to struggle having answers for this Nuggets offense, especially with a bench unit as deep and talented as they have gotten to be this year. They are absolutely phenomenal, and they're going to be just really hard to stop for most of, if not all of NBA defenses that have to go up against this team. So the offense looks great. Defense looks like it's starting to find a little bit of a groove. Peyton Watson had that sick double block there in the first half of this game. God, that guy just covers so much ground on the defensive end. He really is such a weapon for the Nuggets on the defensive end of the floor. And offensively, he's knocking down his outside shots. He's getting to the rim. He's drawing fouls. So really pleased with what I've seen from Peyton Watson so far to start the year. This is a big year for Peyton Watson. I mean, he didn't get the rookie extension in the offseason like we saw Christian Brown get. Remember, they were in the same draft class. He was eligible for that rookie extension, did not get it. So he's kind of got to go out there and prove it this year. And boy, he's making himself a lot of money right now with the way he's playing. And if he can continue this, that's just going to help the depth on the bench that much more. So great to see Peyton Watson have a good start to the season. The Nuggets led 34-25 at the end of the first. They were in control of this thing for all but 3 minutes of this basketball game. Like I said, those last 3 minutes of the second quarter, I thought the Nuggets just kind of got a little complacent, and they were up big, and it just looked like they thought the game was over. That is one bad tendency that the Nuggets teams have had over the years. When they get big leads, they have struggled to hold on to them. So, but great response there in the third quarter. I mean, my God, it was a 29-2 run, and it actually extended out to a 32-4 run, and it was over at that point. Absolutely just bludgeoned the Pelicans there in that third quarter. That was great to see. But like I said, Jamal Murray hits 3 straight threes in that third quarter. His final 3 was the one that put him up 32 on that 32-4 run. and this thing was just absolutely over. So great to see. All right, let's get to some of your comments here. I'm waiting on David Adelman to step up to the podium and see if Altitude's going to carry that. And so until he does, I'd like to get your thoughts on the game. From Dante, let's see here. Did Zion go to In-N-Out before the game tonight? I will say this. Zion is in much better shape than he's been over the past couple of years. Like, you can tell that guy put in work over the offseason, because we did not get a fat Zion tonight. That was a skinny Zion. I mean, he looks like he's minimum down 20 to 25 pounds, if not more than that. So Zion's a really good player on a really bad team. I don't think Zion is the type of player that is that superstar type of player that like lifts all boats, that makes his teammates better. That's what's so great about Nikola Jokic. Nikola makes everybody on the Nuggets better. Everybody is better because of Nikola Jokic. Zion is a very good player. Freak athlete, can jump out of the gym. I mean, all that stuff. But he's not a guy that is going to elevate everybody's play around him. And that was just plainly obvious tonight. Like, Zion, to me, for him to be at his most effective, he needs to be on a team where he doesn't have to be like the main dude. That's just what it kind of feels like. Because if you remember when Zion was coming out of college after 1 year at Duke, I'll never forget this. They showed the Pelicans draft room when they found out they won the draft lottery and Zion was the consensus number 1 overall pick coming up in the draft that year. I mean, their draft room with all of their executives went absolutely nuts. And he's been a good player, but he's been injured a ton. He's been out of shape, and he just doesn't look like the guy we saw in college. Like, that type of athleticism works really, really well at the college level. It doesn't work as well in the NBA. Guys are bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, and you can tell it's just not translating like Zion had hoped it would. But I got to say, I mean, what did he even finish with tonight? Let me look up Zion's numbers here. He finished with 11 points on 4 of 9 shooting. So the Nuggets really held him in check. In fact, their rookie, Jeremiah Fears, who I thought played really well tonight, he was the best Pelican out there, no doubt. He was their leading scorer. He shot 10 of 15 from the field, 21 points for the rookie, the 7th overall pick in the draft. I mean, he was their best player tonight, hands down. And Zion was just sort of a guy, just a guy. And again, Nikola couldn't be more of an antithesis with those two guys. I mean, Zion's the freak athlete, can jump out of the gym, and Nikola Jokic can't jump up onto a sidewalk. Yet Joker is an absolutely dominant basketball player. I mean, it's not even close. Who is a better NBA player at these points in their career? Well, I think Joker's the best NBA player, but you get what I'm saying. Like, Zion isn't even in the same. He's like 3 or 4 tiers below Joker, not a tier or 2. He's 3 or 4 tiers below what Nikola Jokic can do. I mean, Nikola Jokic is off to another fantastic start. I mean, how many triple doubles is this guy going to get to start the season? I don't see him slowing down anytime soon, because he has been. It just looks easy for Nikola Jokic too. Like, I don't mean to say this in like a bad way about Joker, but honestly, it looks like he's not even trying. It looks like he doesn't even care about the game. And I'm not saying that he isn't trying or he doesn't care. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. Like, that's how easy the game is for him right now. And, he's in his 11th year in the NBA. I think he might be bored a little bit with the regular season. And I know we're only 4 games in to the 2025-2026 NBA season, but it's almost like he's just kind of going through the motions. But he's so damn good that like he's able to do that, and he's able to get away with just sort of going through the motions, especially at this point in the season. Like, if you watch Joker right now and his body language and just the style he's playing versus come playoff time, I mean, it looks completely different. And again, I'm not saying this to criticize him at all. I'm just saying it just seems like it's so freaking easy for him right now that he doesn't need to go all out, which clearly by the way he's playing, that's the case for Nikola Jokic. So excellent stuff there. Let me know your thoughts. Let's get to some more of your comments here. Let's see. Dante with another comment. Malone would be an offensive genius with this roster too. Yeah, I've talked about this a little bit. I did an off-season show. I kind of feel bad for Michael Malone in a sense, like just in this sense. I mean, we all know what happened between he and Calvin Booth, and we know why they both got fired before the end of last regular season. They couldn't get along. They couldn't agree on the roster. Booth drafted the Hunter Tyson, Jalen Pickett's of the world, Zeke Najee's, all those guys, and Booth wanted Malone to play them, to develop them. Malone said, they're not good enough. I need better players. We can't continue and win this way with these guys that you've drafted. And then right after Malone gets fired, Nuggets lose to the Thunder in 7 games. We go to the offseason, and the new GMs, Tenzer and Wallace, completely overhaul the bench with really good players. And then they trade Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. Like, Michael Malone had to have been pulling his hair out when he saw that happen, because that is what he was begging for when he was here. I will say this. It's pretty easy to coach up an offense when you have Nikola Jokic running it. Like, I think I could coach the Nuggets to 115 points a night at least. And that's not a shot at David Adelman, who Jamal Murray has called several times. He did it last year, and he did it the other night. Calls Adelman an offensive genius. Clearly, Adelman has the pulse of this team and what to do offensively with the way that it's working with Aaron Gordon. He's been shooting the 3-ball a lot more so far early on this season, and it's working. The 2-man game between Jokic and Murray, which I thought disappeared for long stretches last regular season, they just kind of went away from it, and I'm not sure why. That is fully back, so that was great to see to start this year. I mean, they are like just running that like crazy, this 2-man game between Jokic and Murray. So it's great to see. And this team is so talented offensively that I don't know how teams are going to hold them to under 120 points a night. I mean, really, I don't think they'll average that throughout the season, but the Nuggets might be able to average 120 plus points a night in the regular season. I mean, I think that's how good the offense is. Now, the question mark will be the defense. And look, they had a good defensive performance tonight. Or they had a great defensive performance, and they gave up 11 points in that third quarter. They outscored New Orleans 39-11 in that third. But like I said, it was almost like the Broncos beating up on the Cowboys defense. Like, how much stock can you really put into that to like say, okay, the Broncos offense is back, or did they just play really bad defense, right? It's kind of the same here with New Orleans. Like, the Pelicans are so bad that was it the Nuggets defense tonight, or was it just the fact that the Pelicans stink? I don't know. Maybe it was a combination of both, but regardless, 88 points to an NBA team is hard to do. So I tip my hat to the Nuggets in that sense as well. All right, couple of other notes here. Yeah, like I said, Julian Strawther gets his first non-garbage time minutes so far this season. He gets in early in the second quarter and scores 6 points in 5 minutes. I thought he looked really well. He was shooting with confidence. That was great to see. It's great to see in the sense that Adelman knows he can have another go-to guy off the bench that can shoot if they need him. If Hardaway, knocking on wood here, goes out with an injury, or they just need to rest some of these guys, it's really good to know that they have some depth in there. And then Jalen Pickett, he gets 12 minutes tonight. Now, I know a lot of this stuff was garbage time for, Jalen Pickett got 12 minutes there in the fourth. Hunter Tyson gets the last 5 minutes in the fourth, and Zeke Naji actually ends up getting in the game with Spencer Jones, those, last half of the fourth quarter. But it is good to see those guys come in there and play hard and produce. And I thought they played well. I really did. So awesome to see. Another takeaway from tonight's game was Big Val. I've seen people, Avs fans and Nuggets fans, kind of going back and forth online about who's the real big Val, because obviously Val Nichushkin with the Avalanche, and now the Nuggets have Jonas Valanciunas. We need some sort of a nickname for the Jokic Valanciunas duo. I know they haven't been playing together on the floor, but their big man duo. I was thinking about that during the game, and it's got to happen organically. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. I want to get a nickname for the Nuggets big men duo there. But yeah, I thought Val was outstanding. I mean, this guy, he would be a starting center on, I don't know, probably 20, maybe 23, 24, 25 other NBA teams. He just happens to be playing behind the best center in the game in Nikola Jokic. But I thought he was fantastic. The offense, one of my favorite things about when Val comes into the game, and it's something I've griped about over the years, is the Nuggets don't have to change how they play when Nikola Jokic is off the floor and Valanciunas is on. They can still play the same way. Val's a much better passer than I gave him credit for over the offseason. I mean, he's a very, very good passer. He's got really good hands around the rim. He's got good footwork around the rim. He's a great rebounder. And you can tell he's got a high basketball IQ. And he's a really good defender. He's a rim protector for the Denver Nuggets. So it's just so nice to see them have a legitimate backup center that is not only just, having the Nuggets stay even when Joker's off the floor, but he's actually helping the Nuggets, separate even further when Nikola Jokic is not on the floor. 17-8 run for the second unit tonight in the non-Jokic minutes in that first half. I mean, I think this is every game so far. We've seen the bench unit come in and not only not blow leads, but actually extend leads when Nikola Jokic comes off the floor. It's such a great sight to see. And this is the exact formula that the Nuggets had in their championship run, where they didn't have a massive drop off with that second unit when Nikola Jokic wasn't in there. And that's what we're starting to see here so far. I know we're only 4 games in, but my goodness, it just looks so much better. Kevin says the offense looks awesome. Watson looks so good. Yeah, I talked about Peyton earlier. He looks fantastic. That dude's going to get paid one way or another, whether it's here in Denver or somewhere else. He is playing really, really well to start the year, and he's so important defensively for the Nuggets in that second unit. That was great to see. Let's see here. Win says MPJ is so fun to watch in Brooklyn, and the Nuggets are much better. Yeah, it's funny. I've been by the way, I was a fan of that trade. Let me just make that very, very clear. Fan of the MPJ trade. Because I like what Cam Johnson brings on the defensive end for the Nuggets versus what Michael Porter Jr. brought them. I think MPJ is a better shooter, but Cam is if you look at their 3-point percentage, Cam's just like a 1.5% career lower shooter than MPJ. So it's not a big drop off, at least as far as the shooting goes, between MPJ and Cam Johnson. But Cam Johnson adds so much more defensively that I did like the trade. But I have been sending Hastings, Tyler, and DMAC the numbers here from MPJ. I mean, he had 32 points tonight, 9 rebounds. He shot 12 of 20 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, and then made all 4 of his free throws. But then Scott responded just with 0-5 because the Brooklyn Nets have yet to win a game. And I get it, and I'm just passing along the information. But, it's not really that shocking to see Michael put up the numbers he's putting up in Brooklyn so far, because he's their go-to guy now. I mean, what would Michael Porter Jr., where would he be in the pecking order offensively on this Nuggets team? Take away Cam Johnson, reinsert MPJ. You've got the same bench that the Nuggets have right now. He's maybe their 4th or 5th option. I mean, it's like him and Christian Brown would be kind of like right there as far as the pecking order of the go-to guys on the offensive end. So, and he's the guy. He's the guy right now there for the Brooklyn Nets, and they're gonna need him to be. All right, it looks like David Adelman's talking right now. So let me share my screen here, and we'll hear just a little bit from the Nuggets head coach. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this to work. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hear from Adelman here. Technology problems, people. But yeah, Great stuff from the Nuggets tonight. 3-1 to start the year. They'll be in Portland, I believe, coming up on Friday. So they'll be taking on, what a weird situation there in Portland with the Chauncey Billups arrest. Thiago Splitter, if you remember him, he's a longtime Spurs player. Used to crush the Nuggets, by the way. Thiago Splitter just used to, for whatever reason, have great games against the Nuggets. But they'll be in Portland coming up on Friday. That's an 8 o'clock tip local time there in Portland, who, Portland's, they're still in a rebuild, but they've got some good young players. I like what they're doing there. Obviously, a really weird start to the season with their head coach getting arrested, but they're 2-2 on the year. They're playing the Utah Jazz actually right now. So they've got to fly in Utah. So they've got to fly from Utah back to Portland, where they'll meet the Nuggets on Friday. Just a really weird situation, though, with the Portland Trail Blazers, especially for, like I said, a young rebuilding team to have your head coach arrested literally like the day after their first game and have that whole situation, the unknowns of everything going on with that. It's got to be difficult for them. So again, my point being is the Nuggets should definitely go into Portland with the mindset of running those guys out of the gym, because they're still rebuilding and the Nuggets are a much better basketball team than the Portland Trail Blazers. So that'd be a good opportunity for the Nuggets to get off to a 4-1 start. And look, this season's going to be really, really tough in the West. I mean, OKC is 5-0. The Spurs are 4-0. It looks like they're back. The Warriors are 4-1. Nuggets are 3-1. I mean, there's going to be some knock 'em out 9-round, 10-round battles in the Western Conference this year for the top couple of seeds. And it's just, I mean, OKC it's not surprising because they're such a young team that I didn't think we're going to have any problems as far as having sort of that championship hangover that we see so often in sports. They're such a young, deep team that I don't think they're going to have suffer from that at all. And I would not be surprised if they end up winning the 1 seed there in the Western Conference again. But come playoff time, with how deep the Nuggets have gotten over the offseason, I really do think that they have a really good chance of beating the Thunder and getting out of the Western Conference. I mean, we saw this Nuggets team take them to 7 games in the second round last year with a really banged up Aaron Gordon. If you remember, MPJ in that series hurt his shoulder, or he might have hurt it in the Clippers series. I can't even remember now, but he had a hurt shoulder, and their bench unit was atrocious. So with the bench they have now, I really think the Nuggets have a really good chance of making a lot of noise there in the Western Conference playoffs. A couple more comments here before we get out of here. Eli says Jokic equals MVP. Yeah, well, he averaged a triple-double last year and didn't win the MVP. So I don't know what more he can do than what he did last year and not win an MVP. I mean, I'm kind of over the MVP stuff, by the way. Like, it's great that Joker's won him. He's won 3. Really, it definitely should be 4, because the year Joel Embiid got it, Jokic deserved that. And you could have made a case that Joker deserved it last year too. But in all honesty, like, I'm over the MVP stuff. Cool if he wins it. Don't really care if he doesn't. At this point in this Nuggets era, with this team, with their best players all in their primes, like smack dab in the middle of their primes, it's about championships now for this team. And that's what I know this team is thinking about. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good nickname for my question earlier. The Twin Peaks for Valanciunas and Joker. I love it. That's from Matthew. Great stuff. Absolutely awesome. The Twin Peaks. If you got better suggestions, let me know, but I'm going with the Twin Peaks for now until somebody tells me something better. That is absolutely fantastic. So excellent win for the Nuggets tonight. Like, again, they just absolutely dominated the New Orleans Pelicans. 122-88 is your final. They outscored New Orleans 39-11 there in the third quarter. They go on a 29-4 run, or 29-2 run, extended. It was a 32-4 run. Jamal hits back-to-back 3-pointers, and this thing was over midway through that third quarter. So, look, the Nuggets did what they were supposed to do tonight. They blew out a really bad New Orleans Pelicans team. New Orleans might finish with the worst record in the NBA this year. I mean, that's how bad these guys are. So the Nuggets did what they had to do. It was great to see Julian Strawther get in there in non-garbage time minutes and produce. Awesome to see. Hardaway still shooting the ball confidently. What did Hardaway finish with tonight? He shot 4 of 6, 3 of 5 from 3, and had 11 points. 11 points for Tim Hardaway. It's great stuff. I have been so impressed with what Tim Hardaway has brought to this team so far. And he's a vet. He's 33 years old. He knows this league. He knows when to shoot, when not to shoot. And that's exactly what the Nuggets were lacking last year with all the young guys they had coming off the bench with that second unit. So great to see. Jonas Valanciunas, I thought, had an excellent game tonight. He shot 5 of 7 from the field, 10 points. He is so freaking good. I mean, that guy, knocking on wood again, but if Joker were to have to miss any time this year, I have full confidence that Jonas Valanciunas can be inserted into the starting lineup. And this offense, I don't want to say wouldn't miss a beat. Of course, they're going to miss a beat without Joker, but I think that Jonas Valanciunas can still produce at a high rate as the starter for this team if they were to ever need him to. So it's just been great to see. Bruce Brown, again, just does all the little things right. That's the beautiful thing with Bruce this year, 2.0 version of Bruce Brown versus his first stint with the Nuggets. I say stint, it was one season that ended in a championship. This team is deeper than their championship team. They're not going to need Bruce Brown to do all the things he did in their 2023 championship season. He's not going to play as much as he did in the 2023 season because they don't need him to. They're so deep that guys like Julian Strawther, who I think is a very good NBA player, are having a difficult time getting on the floor. So just all around, this team is set up for massive success this year. I mean, look at the minutes tonight for the starters. I know the starters didn't play in the fourth, and that's not going to be the case most nights. But like, you get games like tonight, these are the games where if you can stack these up early on in the season, it is going to help this team so much down the stretch and into the playoffs. I mean, Aaron Gordon played 23 minutes tonight. That's it. Like, Peyton Watson played the same amount of minutes as Aaron Gordon. Cam Johnson played 27, Joker played 28, Jamal played 25, and Christian played 27. None of the starters played more than 28 minutes. Absolutely fantastic. And this is exactly how it's supposed to work. Against a bad team like New Orleans, you blow them out early, and the starters can take the rest of the night off, and we'll see you on Friday. And that's exactly how it worked out tonight. So great stuff from the Nuggets. Again, 122-88 is your final there at Ball Arena. The Nuggets are now 3-1 on the season. That's going to do it for the post-game show on In the Paint. We'll be back Friday night to react to Nuggets and Blazers. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you then.